Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com.
Your path to e-commerce success starts right here. You're listening to Practical E-commerce, the podcast for e-commerce results.
Okay, welcome back to another Practical E-commerce podcast. My name is Brian Getting, and this is going to be our May 2006 podcast interview. Again, this interview podcasts are the audio version of the interviews that appear in our magazine. The May 2006 issue, we had the opportunity to speak with the CEO of Zoovy.com. David Steele is his name, and Zoovy.com is a little difficult to explain. They're sort of a shopping cart program, but they're really more involved in the online auction business. David does actually a fantastic job of explaining it in this interview, but I wanted to go ahead and introduce Mike Cox, who's doing the interview again. He's been doing them for the past few months, and once again give him a sort of a pat on the back. This is a great interview, a lot of good information about Zoovy, and actually David touches on a lot of interesting Web 2.0 stuff, including AJAX technologies and some other interesting developments that are happening with the web. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Mike again, and this is again Michael A. Cox interviewing David Steele, the CEO of Zoovy.com.
Tell me about the name Zoovy again.
So Zoovy was really the last 5-letter, 3-vowel domain that we could find at the time, and we were calling the company Verities, and the attorneys didn't like it because it was too close to Veritas.
Okay.
But I used to razz them because I'm like, you don't like it because it means truth.
Where did the concept in your mind begin for what you guys have ended up with here?
So my co-founder Brian and myself were I basically built the network for the city of Escondido, and we were working there and we were playing with a lot of different web technologies and playing with e-commerce and looking at designing sort of, the best of breed e-commerce site. And at the time we had a lot of seconds of the product that we had, so we launched them out on eBay and noticed that people would pay at that time, back in '99, even more than they were selling for on our website. And, we'd put big, links in our auctions, and we'd have, you could buy it cheaper here, and people would still get in this, bidding thing. So we just thought, God, if we can automate the process of using the marketplace as a channel to create sales and, acquire customers, we'd really have something. So, we started back in January of 2000 with the idea of, building a website and using marketplaces like eBay and Yahoo and such to drive traffic via, add-ons to the customers and more sales and things like that.
What sort of things were you selling back?
Well, the first one, we got a T-shirt, silkscreen machine.
Uh-huh.
And so we were doing all of these designs. My partner actually built a site for folks like him called Nerd Gear. And it was just selling, stuff for nerds. So, all kinds of different, shirts and things and caffeinated mints and, stuff that his group would buy. And it was more just as a test to see, some of the processes of selling. And what I found out even early on is that so often people don't really think about the back end until it's actually upon them, meaning people don't think about shipping until they're shipping a lot of stuff. It's more of an afterthought.
Right.
And so we just thought, if we could integrate the shipping, the payment processing, the integration with marketplaces, we would really have something.
Figured out that the concept would work. Did you set about just coding software, or what was the process you went through?
Well, it was a few things. We're truly a development company, especially in the early days, and so we were absolutely writing the software, writing the database and writing the software to handle the products. And really, what we were looking to design back then was a content management system that would maintain the inventory across marketplaces and your website. And so the idea was that I can enter my data once and then use it wherever I wanted, which is the way technology should work.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, eBay didn't love us because we supported other marketplaces. They really wanted you just to be, 100% eBay-centric. In fact, a lot of the companies at that time had names like, Auction Watch and Auction Works, and, they were very much just focused in that space. For us, we always looked at it as, you need to get your products out and in front of as many potential buyers as possible.
Now, did eBay and the established auction sites in those days, did they try to impede your progress at all?
Well, back in that day, eBay didn't really even have a developers program, so to speak, and so we were the largest scraper at the time, so we were putting auctions on in an automated fashion, and as they came out with their programs, the early days, back in 2000, 2001, they didn't really want us to be a part of their preferred service providers because we supported Yahoo and we supported, other shopping comparison engines and other things at the time. Then at some point they said, we would really rather you use our APIs. Won't you please use them? And we said, well, no, not initially. I mean, initially they were incredibly expensive. So for the privilege of bringing them a lot of business and customers and transactions, you had to pay a really big fee.
Yeah,
it was really big. And then they got a little bit more reasonable with that, and we said, sure, we'd love to come on board, and we did.
Okay.
And we have a really good relationship with eBay. I'm actually flying out to Salt Lake on Monday to meet with eBay large account managers, and we do quite a bit for them. We've developed little projects for them from time to time, and we work with all of their new technologies, whether it was item specifics right when it came out, or eBay Express, or whatever it is.
So for a merchant today who's looking to sort of get into this whole auction arena and do what a Zoovy storefront, what are the options available, and how difficult is it to get started?
It's real straightforward. We provide training for the merchants, so we're going to teach them how to get products in and how to set up their templates for their auctions and different things like that. We very rarely find merchants that are coming on board with us that are saying, I just want to do eBay. What they want to do is they want to set up their own business, their own store, and then they want to use various marketplaces as a tool to acquire customers and also to move merchandise. And so we have quite a few sellers that don't even sell on eBay anymore because they have enough traffic and business coming to their site. And I think that and you would know this, but I mean the big trend that we're starting to see is we're starting to see a lot more Web 2.0 development, especially in e-commerce. So for us, we've really embraced AJAX, and what it has allowed us to do is to have an easier user interface for our sellers, our merchants that are bringing their products in. So they have the option of using our Windows application to bring products in, or using the AJAX interfaces within our software to bring the products in. But more importantly, it provides a much, much richer and better buying experience. We can handle much larger data sets now. the things that you can do with AJAX sites, for example, not having to leave as you're adding items to a cart. So the shopping cart is just updating on the side of the page, and you just see it updating, but you're continuing to shop, so it's not taking you out of context to some other place.
Yeah, there may be a few of our readers who don't know about AJAX. Could you just quickly tell them what it is?
Sure. So AJAX is a component of what people are calling this Web 2.0, and really it's a new way of it's a new way to develop applications. And what happens is the applications are able to let me think of the best way to describe this. The application, the website is able to operate without having to go back to a server every time somebody clicks on something. So it's much, much faster. So for example, probably the most widely used example of AJAX is the new Google Maps program. And if you look at Google Maps, you go, gosh, it seems so fast, as I zoom in on my house or my office or something like that. And the reason is that they're able to do a lot of the stuff, right at the web page without having to go back to the server. So you're seeing a whole bunch of new applications come out that are AJAX applications, and they're just much more intuitive. Okay.
So let's talk about Joe Merchant, who decides that he'd like to get an auction site up and going. What's the first step if he's going to use the Zoovy tools?
So the first step is he speaks with one of our consultants here in the office, and they'll kind of talk to him a little bit about his business and find out, how he'd like to ship products, and does he have a merchant account, and, does he have inventory and images and things like that, or is he drop shipping? So they'll find some information about to help him, and then find out what his focus is. Is he more focused on getting products on an auction site like eBay or Overstock or Amazon, or is he more focused on his website? And then from there, they'll go ahead and enroll him as a Zoovy customer, and they'll sign him up for some training. And every new customer that comes on board goes through 4 hours of one-on-one training, not all at once. It might be 15 minutes or a half hour. And basically in that time, we could show them how to use every aspect of the technology. And so that's pretty much the process. And so what happens is he'll start building his site, and they're template driven. So it's you're putting your products in, and the site sort of wraps in around your products. And then they'll take you through and show you how, if for example you're using QuickBooks for accounting, how to set it up so that it's completely automated for your customer data and receipt data to go into QuickBooks. They'll help you configure your shipping and things like that. And then they'll show you how to, get your products out in some of the places that it can sell, whether it's Amazon or Overstock or eBay or, wherever it is, Google Base, any of those places. And so, yeah, that's the process. And then, some of our customers come in and they say, hey, I want this look and feel. So they want us to design something custom that matches their corporate site or matches something that they have an idea of, and then we can do that as well.
Now, talk about Zoovy wholesale a little bit.
Okay. What we find is that there's a lot of customers that want to offer products as wholesale as well. So basically, they are going to give us they're going to put in a pricing schedule. So they'll say, you can come to the site and you can log in with a password. And when you log in, you get the products at this price, and you can purchase them from there. And we've kind of gone further from that in that we have something that we call supply chain. And so a lot of our sellers are willing to ship products because the shipping automation makes it real easy, and they're willing to drop ship for other customers. So any Zoovy customer, if they have if a Zoovy customer has supply chain enabled, you can go to their site, choose the products you want to sell. Okay, so they approve you as a merchant, and then those products and inventory will appear on your website, and you can sell them. The nice thing is that when you actually sell the product, it will automatically send the order to the drop shipper. And when the drop shipper actually prints and ships your order out, it actually prints with your actual invoice, right?
Okay.
So I sell all kinds of sporting goods, and you sell skateboards, and you want to carry my helmets. You come to my site, you browse, you say, oh, these are the ones I want. They appear on your site, and then you sell something. You sell a skateboard with a helmet. The order for the helmet comes right to me, and then when I ship it, it prints with your invoice.
And this is all done dynamically.
It's all done dynamically, so there's nothing that you need to do. In addition to that, we also have customers that have fulfillment centers that they work with that do their drop shipping. And in those cases, what we do is we just integrate with that center so that when an order comes into their website, it sends the order automatically to the fulfillment center, and then they do their product. So you can do it a variety of different ways. And really what we find is that for our customers, by having promotions and being able to offer other items in the shopping cart, they're able to really increase their sales. You know, I would say almost 50% of the transactions across all of our merchants have an add-on item. So they're shipping more than one item each time they have a sale. And it's really key. I think once people make a buying decision and they're trusting a seller, whether it's because of their feedback or they bought from them before or they have a professional-looking site, oftentimes they're willing to buy another item or there's something that goes along with it.
Okay.
So the software is designed to recommend those items, you know, and you know, kind of help them get more items in the box.
How many Zoovy merchants are there nowadays?
I'd probably say probably in the 1,500 range or so, and really we've in the last couple years we've kind of focused on larger and larger accounts. So we don't have very many sellers who are, you know, kind of just, you know, it's like a single person, you know, selling a couple items on eBay. Most of the folks that we have are, you know, they're either, you know, significant power sellers or, you know, they have a pretty big business selling products online.
Now, when you describe all of the stuff that goes on in the background, all of the dynamic activity, obviously the average individual's brain just sort of starts to spin. Does the average merchant that's involved with the Zoovy concept, we're not talking a bunch of programmers and nerds here. These are businessmen, and you're the ones who make it easy for them to get involved.
Right, and that's exactly the thing. I mean, let's go back to the example. You sold skateboards. You might know everything in the world about skateboards, but it's not likely that you know a whole lot about technology, and you shouldn't need to. So the idea is that, you know, we're going to train you to get your products in, and then all the automation is there. So after the initial setup, it's very straightforward. So, for example, for us, we're one of the few companies that can actually print both UPS and FedEx air bills, and we can actually print postage. So from the application, you receive, let's say, 50 orders today. You can actually highlight all the orders and say print and have it print your shippers. The guys in the warehouse can pick it, and then they just scan the barcode on the shipper, and it prints out the air bill. Wow. Or if you know the weight of the product, you can just say print and have it just print out all the air bills right off the bat. So it makes it incredibly simple. What we found is it was very difficult to support both UPS and FedEx's proprietary systems out in places. And so we wrote the software ourselves and partnered with both UPS and FedEx to provide that service.
What about the security aspect of working with Zoovy? Obviously, everybody's concerned about fraud and security and all that sort of thing. Are there some things that you guys have done that are proprietary or that help the merchant with security issues?
Yeah, so we're actually hosting their system, and we've actually never yet to date ever had any kind of security issue or breach, but it's a Unix environment that's been hardened and is incredibly secure, and some of the developers that we've employed, are it comes first for us. I mean, it's probably the one area that can hurt a company like ours if you were to ever have any kind of breach. And so, everything, of course, is SSL, and it's very, very secure. And, we're never going to have an issue. Where customers have an issue is when they're hosting their own thing on a shared box, in some ISP somewhere, and then something gets hacked. We have our own server farm in our own cage, and it's very, very, locked down. So we're in a really good position there, and it is a key thing. One of the things that we're working with is a company called BuySafe, and so we've been working with them for a while, and they help bond our sellers on marketplaces. But I think that at some point in the future, you're going to start to see bonded websites.
Oh.
It's just inevitable because people want to feel secure.
So you guys obviously have a good feeling about the future of auction sites and internet commerce in general. Do you have any concerns about the future?
I think that we're starting to see a little bit more diversity in where people are selling, and so people are focusing on their own site and specialty sites and things like that. You're not seeing people, for example, focusing 100% on eBay anymore. And part of the reason is that there's folks that have tools like ours where you can launch thousands and thousands of products in a few moments, and it's a lot more competitive. So I think that e-commerce is just going through the roof, and it's going to get better and better. But I also think that the technology is getting better. We're not seeing these very home done front page sites anymore.
Right.
People kind of expect something better, and I think you're starting to see a lot of bigger e-commerce sites switching over to AJAX technology. So you're starting to see some of that functionality coming across on Amazon already and on some of the bigger marketplaces, and Yahoo and Google are investing heavily in it all of the time. So I think that we're going to start to see a trend of sites that are going to need to get upgraded to newer technology, because people are going to just get used to it and they're going to want to buy that way.
So tell me a little bit about David Steele.
Okay. That's always the hard part. I've been in technology for 20 years now, and started here in San Diego for K-Pro Computers back when it was. They were still CPM, and they had the best luggable computer in the world. I thought, God, I'm learning this WordStar program. I've got the world by the tail.
You were king, absolutely.
And I've just always loved technology and always loved automation. And as far as this endeavor, we really look to just go out there and build the best of breed e-commerce site, and then at the same time, integrate it with marketplaces as a way to make sure that you can sell product and move a lot of inventory.
And that's going to wrap up our May 2006 podcast interview. I want to again thank Michael A. Cox and, of course, David Steele and the entire Zoovy team there. Interesting stuff with Web 2.0. I don't want to get into it too much now because it's still pretty early, and unless you're a serious developer, it still is a little abstract. But the idea is there, and I think in the future a lot of us will be really thinking about this. So it's fantastic that he brought that up. And keep in mind, folks, June 2006 is going to be the 12th issue of Practical E-Commerce Magazine, putting us on the 1-year mark. I'd like to congratulate Kerry Murdoch, the publisher. It's a big milestone for us, and we're all very proud of the magazine. So we will be back next month with our 1-year anniversary podcast. Take care.